Rahul, look, I'm sorry for your namesake, but you have to be from the same planet as Rahul Gandhi to make sense of what he says. And it isn't Earth. One, I remain your obedient servant was a signing of style in letter writing a century ago, and it was used not only by Savarkar but also by Mahatma Gandhi. Just because Rahul uses okay, Tata, Khatam, bye bye to sign off letters doesn't mean that's the only signature style. Two, talking of apologies and obedient servants, Motilal Nehru had to plead and grovel before the viceroy to let his son Jawaharlal Nehru off from Nabha jail as he couldn't stand the harshness of it. Savarkar was in solitary for 6 months. यहाँ तो चचा 2 हफ्तों में पापा बचा लो कहने लगे 3. And this is important because I want to delve a little bit more philosophically into this. Rahul, distorted histories leave wounds that both medicine and time cannot heal. And very few have been distorted more than Savarkar's. Now, there is no doubt that Savarkar was a fearless freedom fighter before he was incarcerated in Kalapani and that he suffered terribly there. Prolonged spells of solitary confinements and brutal torture. So I am ambivalent towards his mercy petitions that were written at times pleading only for his release as well as for other times for release of all political prisoners. That said, it is also a fact that he had written multiple mercy petitions beginning 1911. By the time Gandhi advised Savarkar's brother that Savarkar should write another mercy petition in 1920 and also wrote an appeal to the British to release Savarkar. Another fact that the Chauthi fails mocking Savarkar nowadays ignore is that the co-founder of the Communist Party of India, Dange, also wrote mercy petitions to the British. And unlike Savarkar, he wasn't even thrown in solitary for a day, leave alone months. Bismil, freedom fighter Ashfaqullah Khan also wrote mercy petitions. There is also the fact that once released, Savarkar asked Indians to join the British Army, but then so did Mahatma Gandhi. Savarkar was also against the Quit India movement, but then so was Rajaji and Ambedkar, who said, and I quote, the Quit India movement is both irresponsible and insane, showing bankruptcy of statesmanship, unquote. And for those who say you needed to be thrown in jail by the British if you were a true freedom fighter, I ask, was Dr. Ambedkar even thrown in jail by the British even once? There is also the fact that Savarkar was a bold social reformer and unlike Gandhi, was vociferously against the caste system. Also, his views on Islam are astonishingly similar to the views of Ambedkar, and we don't call Ambedkar an Islamophobe, do we? But then, Rahul, just a minute. There is also another side of Savarkar. Let me quote Sardar Patel in 1948, quote, "It was the fanatical wing of the Hindu Mahasabha directly under Savarkar that hatched the conspiracy to kill Gandhi and saw it through," unquote. Savarkar was acquitted because the approver statement that Savarkar blessed Godse and Apte with Yashasvi Bhava could be corroborated. Court never called as witness Savarkar's bodyguard and secretary who would have contradicted Savarkar's testimony. In 1964, in fact, new evidence emerged through Tarun Bharat's editor Ketkar's admission.
Yes.
The Kapoor Commission was set up and it concluded that Savarkar indeed was directly involved in Gandhi's assassination. Rahul, just 20 seconds. Ultimately then, no political activist is without another side, Rahul. It is just that one has to judge objectively the extent of it. Mao killed 63 million of his own people and he's on the currency notes. Mass murderers Stalin and Lenin are still worshipped in India. So is Churchill who actually starved 4 million Indians to death. That's why I am against eulogizing political leaders because to honor them is almost always a political call.